Man, what a weekend of football we just had. I mean, man, we have some big games this weekend that happened. Some teams were eliminated from playoff contention. We'll talk about those few teams here in a minute. Some teams dropped their chances to get in the playoffs. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Very excited. There's a lot of NFL action to talk about. Really cannot wait to dive into that. And, that's what mainly today's going to be a lot about, just talking NFL football. Because I'll admit, Army-Navy, we'll talk about that here in the intro in a minute after I kind of go over what the game plan is today. Because I'll admit, Army-Navy, we don't have to go into too much. Navy just kicked their ass. But, yeah, after we talk a little bit of NFL, we'll go over some news. Lions dealing with a lot of injuries. We'll go over some news. We'll talk about probably some teams that locked up the playoffs, potentially. We kind of did it last week. There's a few other teams that have officially locked it up now, so we'll mention that. And then we'll end the show with talking about look ahead at the college football playoffs for our bets for tomorrow. We'll also talk about some bowl games that are happening over the next 2 days. I might not get a chance to get on just in time for. So it should be a really fun one. But like I said, before we hop in the NFL, Army-Navy. Army had 5 turnovers the whole season. Finished that game with 3 of them. And, hey, Navy looked like the team that rested and had 2 weeks to prepare for Army versus Army, who looked like the team that used a lot of that emotion and a lot of that fight to win the AAC championship, which, not crazy. I'll just admit, I was shocked that Navy. I'm not shocked that Navy won. I'm shocked at how much Navy won by. They really dominated that game. That was right away. It's like, oh, all right, so Navy really came to play today, huh? So shout out to Navy for winning the Army-Navy game. And without any further ado, I think it's time for us to hop into the NFL. So with that being said, NFL, Week 15, man, please. As a wise man likes to say, I'm all about my bread, like some ham and cheese. First, before we get to there, let me buy some time real quick, because there's a number, I think, that just moved in a football game, which if it did, that's going to suck for your boy. Oh, damn. Oh, well, I guess, a soul for a soul. The over moved in my favor, but the, could have got a few extra points in that spread, which would have been really nice, but we don't need to talk about that. That's for a game that we'll be previewing a little bit later in the college football section, but yeah, NFL-wise, I think it's just time to go over some of the games. There's going to be a few games we skip, simply for the fact that they don't matter. For example, Panthers, Cowboys. Shout out to the Cowboys. Somehow the playoff hopes are still alive. We were just wrong. The Panthers are still the Panthers. They kind of came back to earth a little bit. Weren't able to get the running game going at all. So, yeah, they just kind of 34-14. Got their asses kicked. Shout out to the Cowboys who did indeed get off. I'll admit, they got off the mat a little bit more than I thought they would. And we were just down to take the Panthers as favorites. I can't even tell you why I did it. I just didn't want to. We should just not bet on that game. If anything, it should have been Cowboys money line or nothing. But really should have done that. This Thursday night game is going to be really quick to talk about. Rams, 12. 49ers, 6. No touchdowns. All field goals. First half it was super rainy, so it kind of made sense. The offense was struggling a little bit. Second half wasn't as bad, but the offense just really didn't get going at all, and it was just a bad game to be a player who wants to catch a touchdown. For those of you in fantasy football who do their playoffs a week earlier, I do mine weeks 16, 17 in the NFL because I just have 4 teams make it. I'm not a big fan of the buys, I'll admit, just for the simple fact that it sucks to watch your team put up 180 on the buy, and then the next week they drop 120, which I guess some people would say, well, that's just counting as like you winning a first round, losing a second. Yeah. Meh. I just don't like the buys. I just feel like, I don't know, that's a personal thing for me in fantasy, just don't. Might go back to them eventually, but for now it's like, we don't do buys. 4 teams make the playoffs, let the best teams in. Even though, shout out to my boy Blake, who I think got in at 8-7. Disgusting. Anyway, though, Kyron Williams, 29 for 108 on the ground, but yeah, this game, no touchdowns. No touchdowns at all. Puka Nacua went crazy, but like I said, the reason I was talking about fantasy, I don't even see his name on the list. That's why I was trying to figure out, I'm like, wait, why can't I find my boy? That's because he had 0, 0, 0. Cooper Kupp out there just running wind sprints. Ended up with a few targets, got no receptions, no catches, no yards. Which, if you start him in fantasy, was an absolute killer, I'm sure, for the season. But yeah, Puka Nacua, 7 for 97. It just sucks because I gave out Cooper Kupp stuff, and it's like, oh, cool. He's not getting the ball at all. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, shout out to the Rams. Big win for them. So now it's pretty much between the Rams and the Seahawks to win the division. Cardinals are still lingering kind of there, but 49ers at this point, their season's over. Speaking of a team whose season's probably over, Indianapolis Colts 13, Denver Broncos 31. I don't even want to get into it too much. We'll try to keep this simple. We'll spend more time on the Colts and their issues in this offseason, but goddamn, dude. First quarter looked amazing for the Colts to take a 7-0 lead. They're up 13-7 going into halftime. Should have been up a little bit more, it feels like, but overall it's not mad about it. Not horrible. Could have played a little bit better. Second half, they come out. Jonathan Taylor looks like he's going to score a touchdown to make it 20-7. That boy dropped the ball before he crossed the end zone line, which I'm sure a lot of people know at this point because of the... Yeah. I'm just speechless. Like, I can't even put in the word. I'm speechless. Jonathan Taylor drops the ball. The game ends 31-13. Anthony Richardson had moments. He still needs to get better. 17-38 for 172. Okay, Donnie Mitchell threw pick six. They count as a fumble, which is horrible. I mean, that was for sure a pick six for Benito. I'm counting as a pick six for Benito. Because, I mean, it was a Colts trying to do a double pass. The game, 4-point game at this point, 13-17. Going into the fourth quarter, 12:39 left on the clock. They score a touchdown here. I mean, hey, they're still in the game. They go to a good old double pass. Turns into a pick six. Shades of the Raiders against the Patriots when Jacoby Myers threw it back, except this wasn't as bad as that, but still wasn't good. Oh, man, dude. Colts have a long way to go. Shout out to the Broncos, though. Big win for the Broncos, who, with that, pretty much, I think they're a 91% chance to make the playoffs. They play the Chargers this week. They win that game. I think they're a lock to get in, but at this point, they're probably going to get into the playoffs. Colts, they got to win out. Hope some teams lose, but let's be honest, their season's over at this point. They're 6-8. Very disappointing. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in the team, man. This AFC South, we called it to a T. We said the Titans were going to be bad. They were bad. We said the Jags were going to be bad. They were going to be bad. We said Houston was going to come back to earth a little bit. They weren't going to have the best season. Did exactly that. The one damn team we didn't nail, just simply because I said they were going to have 10 wins. I said they were going to have like 10 wins. I even might have said 11 because I was delusional a little bit, but I said they were going to have 10 wins. And looking back at the schedule, I mean, probably should have beat the Jaguars. Probably should have beat the Texans at least once. There's 8 wins. They beat the Broncos, there's 9. And that's just like in their schedule. I mean, and then they finish the season, they have Titans, Giants, Jags. And, I mean, they're going to finish 9-8, potentially. They should finish 9-8, but it's going to be nice to watch Anthony Richardson develop a little bit. It's just very frustrating because what to do at this point? Another Colts season where they don't make the playoffs. They find a way to lose the game. I mean, this was a T to a Colts game. Double pass that gets intercepted for a pick six. Fumbling 1 yard before the goal line. Defense balls out. They were shutting down Bo Nix. I thought the Colts truly had a chance in this game. Defense looks amazing. They do end up finally just breaking because they can't hold for forever. Shout out to the announcers. They said the Colts special team was playing good. I mean, they had like 2 or 3 returns where the Broncos got the ball in the 50. I mean, the defense really held the Colts in that game. Offensive special teams really didn't show up, and now it's, in my opinion, as a scorned fan who's really, really hurt, I don't want to see Gus Bradley or Chris Ballard there anymore. I feel like they both played out there 10 years, but we'll see. I don't think the Colts will make too many changes at this point. I don't know. Jim Irsay seems very, very okay with it. And this is not a bad thing, by the way. It's not a bad thing where he's like, hey, let's let it play out. Let's see what happens. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm personally, as much as it's better to get rid of a guy a year early than keep him a year longer, I'm in the camp of keeping him a year longer, especially if they can pull some magic out of something. But this Ballard, Gus Bradley, Shane Steichen combo just isn't it. I just don't personally think Ballard is RGM. Nothing. I mean, his drafts have been okay. It's just nothing's been horrible. It's just been okay, and that's the issue. Is that in the AFC South, we should probably be a little bit better than okay. Because truly, this was the Colts division to win, and they controlled. In the great words of Deion Sanders, we controlled our own destiny and we fumbled it away. Shout out to Broncos though. That was a massive win for the Broncos who, hey, they got a real shot. But I'm not going to bash the Colts totally. I think there's promise with the future, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Each year, the optimistic Colts fans me slowly just this loss. I mean, that Goodson loss really tore my heart out. But it's like, hey, we'll at least get Anthony Richardson back this, and then we'll be okay. Like, I don't know what to say about this year. Like, what is there going into the next year? Cool. Anthony Richardson has another year to develop. Then he has another year to develop under. He'll get a chance to play and maybe have more games under. Okay. Where do we go from there? Man, I spent way too long in the Colts, but I just had to pour my heart out a little bit, man. I'm hurt. I'm hurt, man. I'm a hurt fan. Yeah, I'm a hurt fan. Moving on, though. We'll talk about the night game because I just have it queued up next. 30-13 victory for the Packers. This is the point where it's like, hey, the Packers, nothing against the Seahawks. Seahawks didn't play a horrible game. Geno Smith ends up getting hurt, so he ends up missing some time later in the game. But when the Packers are good, the Packers are good. That's basically what this game showed us because, I mean, they were scored 14 points right away. Get a Josh Jacobs touchdown and then a Romeo Doubs touchdown. Up 14-0. I'm not going to say the game's over, but the fact that the Seahawks only scored 13, the game was pretty much over. I mean, the Seahawks scored 2 field goals in the second and third quarter. I mean, a field goal each in the second and third quarter. 2 total. Past that, nothing else really in the game. Yeah, it's just crazy, honestly. Truly crazy how, like, when the Packers are really good, they're right. But we just don't see it. Football's a crazy sport sometimes. When you see like stuff like this, it's like, oh, so the Packers might be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. It's just they don't pull this out. Like, it feels like this comes out once every 4 or 5 weeks. The Packers play a really good game like this. Like, don't get me wrong. They're 10-4 and they're playing some good games. But there's like, I don't know. This Packers team, because they're young, I feel like they play a little bit inconsistent. Because imagine if they played like this way against the Lions. They probably beat the Lions. They just had a few extra mistakes in there that pretty much lost in that game. I mean, regardless of how Packers are on an amazing, amazing run at this point. Besides losing to you don't count the loss to the Lions. How about this? We don't count both losses to the Lions. Seems 10-2. And if you really want to take in their schedule, look at their losses. 2 to the Lions. They got 1 loss to the Vikings. 1 loss to the Eagles at the beginning of the season. Team's pretty good at football. And then for the Seahawks, they still, I think, are going to be okay. It's just, since DK Metcalf came back from his injury, he hasn't been the same. Jackson Smith and Jigba for sure taking over as the number 1 wide receiver now. Sorry, I got to... For those of you who are tuning in for the first time or haven't tuned in a minute, your boy has a hernia in both his groins. So sitting is like beyond uncomfortable, especially in this chair. I just can't ever get comfortable in this chair. So I'm sorry for how much I'm moving around. I can't go more than like 15 minutes recording, and then once it starts, it's a whole thing where it's like, all right, now it's just going to hurt every single time. But we're here to talk about my groin. Because you know what hurts more? The fact the Colts... Anyway, I'm just kidding. But, all right. I'll tell you what, I would take this groin pain if it meant the Colts could make the playoffs. But if the Colts are going to miss the playoffs, I don't need this groin pain. Let's get this. Good news, though, sidetrack, wayside note, CT scan for your boy Thursday. Surgery in January, so hopefully we get this over with soon. Anyway, it should be nice, though. Thankfully, it's nothing too crazy. My shoulder hurt way more than this situation, so... Can't complain too much, just yeah. If you're wondering why I'm moving around and you constantly see me shifting, your boy can't sit still. Chiefs, 21-7 victory over the Browns. I mean, Jameis just... No touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Chiefs... Biggest thing, it's a 21-7 victory for the Chiefs. They finally covered a game. They won by double digits. I don't think anybody was shocked. Let's be honest. This game opened up at 6. The fact that I dropped 2 points was kind of... eye-opening. I don't think anybody's shocked the Chiefs won. I think a lot of people are kind of being like, whoa, they actually covered? Hey, defense balled out. Defense looked really, really good. Forced Jameis to look horrible. I mean, Dorian Thompson-Robinson came in. He turned over the ball as well. And, I mean, overall, Chiefs scored 21 points. They look good. Some key notes, though. Patrick Mahomes, high ankle sprain. In my opinion, if I had to guess, sit out versus Texans, play versus... Steelers? That'd be my guess. I wouldn't be shocked if he sits out that Steeler game as well. But I for sure think he's probably going to sit the Texans game because they have a lot. They have 3 games in 11 days as well, so they aren't going to want to rush him too much. And Carson Wentz should be able to be doable. But man, that's going to be an interesting look at the Chiefs. But let's be honest, it's not Christmas time unless Mahomes is hurting his ankles or his knees or something. It's like every year at this point he does something to his his ankles or his legs every season for Christmas, like the Christmas special, which probably means the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl, huh? No, but no, in all seriousness, going back to Shout out to Jerome Ford. I want to mention that, by the way, 62-yard touchdown run. But there's some big stuff, some key notes we want to hit in this game. We talked about the Mahomes injury. Xavier Worthy, 8 receptions on 11 targets. Something to just keep in the back of the head, like, oh, so they got him involved a lot. Nice. Because I don't know what they're going to do for playoff-wise. I mean, we got touchdowns in this game from Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy got one, and Noah Gray all got one. Noah Gray's been getting them a lot lately, but it's nice to see Xavier Worthy getting involved because now it's going on the playoff run. It's like, hey, if we want to gamble on this guy, he might actually still be involved. I don't know. It was awesome to see him get 11 targets because I was just like, oh, he hasn't got that all season. Nick Chubb. Tough season for him, man. Finally comes back from all the knee stuff. Broken foot, out for the season. So prayers up for Nick Chubb, obviously, because that's just heartbreaking loss for him, man. I mean, he finally battles all the way back just to have his foot break. Just with another setback. Just sucks, man. But yeah, shout out to the Chiefs. They won the game. I don't think we need to go into too much. They beat the Browns 21-7. I don't think anybody likes that. I don't think anybody's too shocked by the final score. I mean, Dolphins 12, Texans 20. Tua played like shit. That's the biggest story of this game. This is probably Tua's worst game back since he came back from injury. Texans win 20-12. Nico Collins gets 2 touchdowns. Another game where nothing impressive, but the Texans win. I mean, it's kind of been their MO this season. They are 9-5, but it's been weeks now. They just have not been impressive. I mean, the fact they lost to the Titans, coming off loss to the Titans, then they beat the Jags 23-20 beat the Dolphins by this, which is a good win for them. Because they made Tua play that bad defensively, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not scared. Oh, this is another situation where it feels like the Texans are probably going to lose first round again this season. Joe Mixon just hasn't been. I think he was a bit more right this game. I think they did get back to using him a little bit, but man, when they don't rush, it's just not right. No, Joe Mixon 12 for 23. Agumbawale 1 for 35, and I think that was on the fake punt. But yeah, Tank Dell has 1 for 15. I mean, when Joe Mixon isn't rushing the ball and rushing well, I mean, this is Joe Mixon's team. I hate to say it. C.J. Stroud is a quarterback, but this is a Joe Mixon team. If Joe Mixon's not right, this offense struggles like mightily. I mean, you see it when he's off and doing well. They do really good when he's off and running the ball and toting it really well. But when they bottle him up like this, 12 for 23, this is a game the whole way throughout. Sucks for the Dolphins. Their season's probably over as well. They get eliminated from playoffs, I think, officially. I don't think they're officially eliminated, but it's one of those situations where it's like they're eliminated, but we aren't going to say it just yet because there's a chance that all 15 teams that they need to lose Sunday. But probably over. But yeah, overall, I mean, there's nothing too exciting to take away from this game. Texans just win a tough one. Dolphins lose a tough one. Mike McDaniel now is 3-13 against teams over 500, I believe. Yeah, starting to become a little bit of an MO, but at the same time, Dolphins are good. They just aren't great, I guess. And we're just between the 2 injuries to start the year. It's just been a weird year for them. So I mean, it's really hard to fully evaluate this team. Jalen Waddle ended up injured. I don't think he came back in, so that's something to keep an eye on. But how many receptions? 7 receptions for Devon Achane. Him over 5 receptions might be a go-to every game. I don't know. There's not much to pull away from this game. Texans win, Dolphins lose. Texans at least do cover, but like I said, Tua just played so horrible that's like, I don't know if I should give credit to the Texans because, like, hey, they forced him to play that horrible if Tua just had one of the worst games he's played in a while. Good win for the Texans. Bengals 37, Titans 27. We don't. Bengals, I think, at least keep their very, 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 very slim playoff hopes alive, but they're still alive, still lingering like a bad fart. They're trying, but I will say something that's really impressive. Mason Rudolph ends up coming in again, but Will Levis, man, 8 for 12, 89 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So I mean, to be fair, if we want to count stats this way, he was 11 for 12, with over probably 140 or 50, maybe 160 passing yards if you count the interceptions. Just yeah, when you only throw 12 passes and you throw 3 interceptions, pretty impressive. I mean, that's Nick Saban. That's like Nick Saban winning a natty percentages, where it's like, hey, if you look at Nick Saban's old not draft class, but his old like recruiting classes, every 4 years at some point they win a title. Basically, there's every 4 you're gonna get a pick from Will Levis. So that's just, yeah. We just talked about it. We predicted this game. We predicted what would happen to Oh, okay. I misread that. I thought it was something popping up. It's baseball. We don't need to worry about that. But yeah, no, this was just a team that I thought the Titans would be a little bit better than 3 wins, but I didn't think much better. And I mean, they looked like they got some figuring out to do too. Their quarterback situation, I'm assuming, is not set, so they're gonna have to figure that out. And I mean, we're gonna talk about the Jags here very briefly in a minute. That was an exciting game, but man, are they bad. So yeah, there's that. Bengals win big. Like I said, that was just a good win for them. They needed to win that game, and they won that game. Didn't mess around. 37-27 is a lot closer score than the game actually was. This game was over. Commanders 20, Saints 19. My biggest thing from the game, I didn't even realize this watching live. If you watch, because I guess, which is crazy, I didn't notice it live, but that brought up a lot to my attention afterwards, especially as a guy who had the Commanders -1.5 in a teaser. They catch the ball. Saints catch the ball at the 1 at this point. Because by this point, the Commanders are up. Going into the fourth quarter, they're up 17-7. Going into the fourth quarter after Alvin Kamara had a sick-ass one-handed touchdown, by the way. Shout out to him, man. What a career he's putting through. Might be one of the... I don't want to say all-time greats. We can't just be throwing that around. One of the greats in the all-time history of football. Not one of the all-time greats. One of the greats all-time. I mean, I'd put him in that, like, another, you want to talk about good, if we're going to talk Hall of Fame, good, not great, this is a really good player, but maybe not a great player. I don't know. Like I said, Alvin Kamara is one of, like, 3 or 4 guys, I think, with, like, 50 rushing, 50 receiving touchdowns or some stat like that he got. So, I mean, he's going down as one of the best. I mean, all the Saints got at this point. So, when he left injured, that was kind of sucked for them. Hey, shout out. He's dealing with a groin injury as well. Hey. Feel your pain, brother. No, but moving on, like I said, the Commanders, this game ended up, when Hayner was in, felt amazing. It's like, all right, Commanders are covering. We don't got to sweat this. Don't have to worry. They put in the Rattler, and it's like, oh. He actually looks a little bit more competent at quarterback. But like I said, the point I want to get to, they drive the ball. There's like 10 seconds left. Out route to Foster Moreau. Foster Moreau gets tackled. The ref stops the clock. He was tackled inbounds. I don't think it was for a first down. But this is not college rules. So he was tackled. Clock should have kept going. They don't get this time off. Commanders should have won 20 to... I mean, regardless, Commanders win, so it doesn't matter for that part. But for us bettors, Commanders should have won 20-13. But instead, they don't... Like I said, they don't wind the clock. And then So the guy does this. They stop the clock. This ref sees another ref pick up the ball and start sprinting. As all the players realize it. They're sprinting to get the ball, and then he's like... Oh, and you literally can see it in real time. You see the ref do that, or do what the wave off is, and you see him in real time go. And like you see him like all of a sudden like, oh shit, and do his arm so he can get the clock winding again. They end up scoring a touchdown. They go for 2, don't get it. Oh man, if the Commanders lost this game. I mean, after the game, Dan Quinn came out and basically like without saying it said, yeah, kind of fucked us there. Horrible, can't do it, can't have it happen. The reffing crew, what's his name? Can't think of the head ref. He even came out and be like, that call's not reviewable, but yeah, we messed that one up. And he basically, like, if you read it, I mean, it's like, no, that call's not reviewable, shouldn't have been done. I mean, you can tell he was probably pretty pissed about what happened there, because that's going to be the biggest takeaway from this game. Commander should have won 20-13. Won't lie to you. I just got a call back confirming my CT scan we got for Thursday. Shout out the docs, making it nice and simple, but yeah, your boy kind of forgot where he left off at, but regardless, I mean, great win for the Commanders who were able to hold on, but yeah, that game's going to be remembered by what the refs kind of did at the end, so it's kind of like, Jets-Jaguars. This game actually ended up being really, really exciting. It was back and forth most of the day. Jets... there's probably like 5 different times in this game, like, oh, thank God the Jets got it, and then they blew it. It's like, God damn, the Jets do it again, but truly was a back and forth game. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, who... that connection might be back, people. 9 for 198 and 2 of them things. Damn near should have been 3 of them things for Devontae Adams. He had an awesome, awesome day. Aaron Rodgers, 16 for 30, 289, 3 passing touchdowns. He also had some... That boy was scooting a little bit. Where's that at? 6 rushes for 45 yards. So I just want to shout out the Jets. Awesome, awesome storm back to win. Because there was a chance they might have actually lost this game. But Aaron Rodgers has one of his best days in a while. You can see the joy bring back a little bit. Seeing the Jets play this way, it's like, damn. Why can't y'all do this all season? I know they don't play the Jags 17 weeks of the season, but it's just like, man. Imagine if the Jets had this all season. I mean, obviously their defense, like I said, the defense gave up 25, so defense didn't play the best. But, I mean, when they needed it, I think Sauce Gardner got an interception to end it. So, I mean, just crazy. It's like, man, where was this at all season, boys? But now it's interesting to see, like, all right, what are they going to carry into next year? Because at this point, with 3 weeks left, they're just fighting to play. And then as for the Jags, both these teams are bad. And they're the team that lost, so they basically won't get talked about too much. But they got a lot of soul searching to do. Doug Peterson, I think, is going to be there till the end of the year at this point. Which poor him, man. Sucks they won't fire him for his sake. Because at this point he could probably get a head start in some other coaching jobs, head start elsewhere. But if they end up keeping him, you can scratch this from the record. It won't matter. But if they end up firing him, like at the end of the season. Going to kind of suck for him a little bit. They just basically drag their feet in the decision to finally be like, all right, now season's over. See ya. Goodbye. Very goodbye. But no, overall, bad seasons for both these two teams. Win here is just nice for the Jets. Sucks for the draft position, but it's nice for them just to get a little bit of momentum and be like, hey, you know what? We still can win some damn football games. Ravens win 35-14. Mark Andrews sets a new Baltimore record with 48 career touchdowns. Surpassing Jamal Lewis. Shout out to Mark Andrews. Weird game for Derrick Henry, man. 14 for 67 on the ground. No touchdowns anywhere in a game where Lamar Jackson had 5 touchdowns. He's truly looking special. Like honestly, if I was to give out betting advice for this, I would hedge I would head Lamar Jackson to win the MVP, but I think that it's probably Josh Allen's reward at this point. He's minus 900, but Lamar Jackson has been having a great season. If you look at his numbers, everything's better than his MVP season that he had last year. So it makes you wonder if it's a little bit of voter fatigue. Because, 290 for 5 touchdowns, 6 rushes for 65 on the ground. The kid's special, man. He's truly really good. Regardless, I think it's between... I think Aaron Rodgers said today on the Pat McAfee show, and I think I echo his sentiments very well when it comes to this. Hyphen race for me at this point. Jared Goff is, I guess, lingering in fourth if I have to pick a fourth. But it's Saquon, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson in no particular order. Saquon being a running back kind of is like, I think you should win it. Let me rephrase that. I think you have the potential to win Saquon, but it's probably not happening, so I appreciate you. But it's between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, I think, at this point. And since we can't bet on Josh Allen, we're going to sprinkle a little bit on Lamar Jackson. Maybe Josh Allen's odds go up. But, yeah, it's been a great season for Lamar, like I said. And, they just absolutely kicked the Giants' ass. So now at this point at 2-12, they're just playing for the number 1 seed. They play the Falcons, Colts, and the Eagles left. I think they have the number 1 seed at this point. Or not number 1 seed, Jesus. Number 1 draft pick. Yeah, I don't know if Brian Daboll's going to stay there at this point. The Giants' season has just been... You want to talk about seasons from hell, man. I know the... Who's the team for the team from hell that we talked about? I know the 49ers have had the season from hell. The Giants might just be hell in general, man. They are just... It's rough in them streets for them Giants boys. Cardinals win 30-17 over the Patriots. This game was another game that wasn't even close. Patriots scored 14 in the fourth quarter. Garbage, basically, scores. The first 2 or 3 quarters when it matters, they don't do shit on offense. Have dumb penalties. So, we're not even shocked they lost. Just pissed I even gave out them the cover because it's like, of course. They no-showed for 3 quarters, which really killed the cover. But shout out to the Cardinals, who get a win and bounce back after having a very, very, very rough skid of games. And now the Cardinals, it's not over just yet for them to make the playoffs and win their division, but they might have messed around a little bit too much. Steelers, they lose 13-27 to the Eagles. The passing game is the performance talked about in this game. Jalen Hurts, 25 for 32, 290 and 2 touchdowns. Steelers basically played man all day on defense, so they were just getting carved apart. Shout out to Muth, 3 for 22 and a touchdown. Russ had 128 passing. No George Pickens seems like to be the death of the Steelers offense. Najee even fumbled the ball, which he doesn't do at all very much. I think that was his first fumble of the season. It was just a masterclass from the Eagles, man. They just balled out in defense, held them down on offense, and then the offense on the other side for the Eagles did just... I'm not going to say do just enough when you score almost 30 points, but they look pretty good, man. Saquon didn't even have to do too much. I think he left injured at one point, missed a good amount of time, but 19 for 65. Kind of sucks for our... I'm glad A.J. Brown cried about it so we can get 8 for 110, but so now Saquon's not going to beat the rushing record. But don't worry, A.J. Brown, you got your targets. I'm just kidding. I actually have no ill will if you heard us last week talk about it. We aren't even shocked. We gave out A.J. Brown's over, figured it would happen. Shout out to Devontae Smith for balling out as well, though. Devontae Smith, 11 for 109 in one. A.J. Brown, 8 for 110 in one. But second he came out and did all that, I think we kind of knew on this show, we're like, hey, A.J. Brown going to have a big week. And it's, at this point, hey, the Eagles have all this shit going on, all this drama going on. They just keep winning ball games. And that's really, really impressive. And as for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that game they have coming up against the Ravens this week is basically for the AFC North. So that, not the worst game to lose against the Eagles. It's going to happen, but TJ Watt getting injured is going to be really scary. We're going to have to keep an eye on him to see if he's going to be able to play in the next game. And then George Pickens. They could really, really use George Pickens back for this game against the Ravens. Because like I said, winner probably is winning the AFC North in that Ravens-Steelers game. Unless something happens and one team wins that game and then loses their last 2 games. Even then, I might not be... something I think catastrophic has to happen for the team to win that game and then not win the division. So, basically, winner of that wins the division. So, that's going to be a big game upcoming this week. Bills-Lions. Josh Allen? Really good at football? There's a reason this guy is favored for the MVP. 23 of 34, 362, 2 touchdowns, and then he rushed for, I think, 60 or 80 on the ground as well. This guy is ridiculous, man. 11 rushing for 68 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Jared Goff had 2 rushing for 13 yards, but also had 494 passing and 5 passing touchdowns. This game was an awesome, awesome football game. The score was a lot closer than the game actually was. Bills pretty much went up 14-0, and then all she wrote, because they scored 2 touchdowns. Like I said, they're up 14-0. Now you got the Lions. Lions score with Tim Patrick, and the Bills score. Lions score, the Bills score. Bills score again. Lions score. Bills score. Lions score. Bills score. Lions score. Bills score. Lions score. So, like I said, the score makes it seem a bit closer than it was, but the Bills were basically up about 2 scores the whole game. And then there was points where they would get down to close to 1 score, but then they just capitalized and went back up. The defensive struggles on this team for the Lions. Now they're losing Ali McNeil for the season. They lost Carlton Davis for the time being with a broken jaw. David Montgomery's getting repaired MCL, so he's out for the season at this point. He's either out indefinitely or out for the season. I believe it's out for the season, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just there's so many injuries, and I honestly love the way that Dan Campbell phrased it. Why are they not showing up this Montgomery thing? All right, so I gotta literally look it up because they won't show me. Cool. But no, Dave, I love what Dan Campbell came out and said. He basically said, instead of complaining about it and being like, oh, we're doing too many injuries, it's going to be really hard for us to win the title. He said it the other way where he's like, hey, we better win the title now for these guys because it's we aren't going to let these injuries... He basically said, let's not let these injuries go to waste. Let's win this title for the boys that are injured and not able to play. And that's something that's hell yeah. Hell yeah. Now I want to run through a wall for him. But David Montgomery confirmed out for the season. Seasoning to address MCL sprain in the right knee, which is I'm assuming is a few months recovery, which with the playoffs being this close already, kind of a little too late to get him back. That's just the biggest thing, man. These Lions are dealing with all these injuries on defense, which kind of scares me for their hope in the NFC. If they can survive this defensive injuries, get a few defensive guys back, they might just be okay, because as much as losing Dave Montgomery really sucks, that really, really sucks, or losing their battering ram, they still got Jahmyr Gibbs back there, who might just be okay, man. They're just going to have to find a way to, lighten the load on him a little bit while also giving him more of a workload. And then as for the Bills, man, they're just good at football now. And when you have a guy like Josh Allen leading the way, you're going to be all right. He's had an amazing last few games. Glad that he was able to get a win now in one of these great games. Yeah, with Josh Allen at this point, the Bills are going to be a hard team to beat. They're pretty much set for the playoffs at this point, so it's going to be a fun watch to see, all right, pretty much for the Bills at this point, it's all right, let's get to the playoffs now, and let's see how this team does in the playoffs, because we know what they are in the regular season at this point. Bucks win 40-17 over the Chargers. This was just an ass-kicking. I don't know what the Chargers did wrong. I don't know who they pissed off, but they for sure pissed off Mike Evans, who went nuclear. Mike Evans, 9 receptions, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Awesome game for him. Ladd McConkey on his return, 5 receptions, 58 and a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, it was an insane game by that boy Mike Evans, who now all of a sudden is he's starting to get back on pace to make that 1,000 yards. Like, if he didn't have a game like this, he was screwed. So it's awesome to see that did happen, because there's a good chance I think the boys are going to try to get this for Mike Evans. Oh, shout out to me. I think I just fixed my... I might have actually fixed that. Nice. But yeah, I mean, if you look... it's funny. You just look at the scoring summary. It's close in the second quarter, and then after 37 seconds left in the second quarter, it's Buccaneers. Bucky Irving, 15 for 117 on the ground. That boy's going to be hurt and beat up, but he's been special for them at the running back. Ever since they found him, it's been a great addition with Rachaad White. And as for the Chargers, they could really use J.K. Dobbins back at this point, because their rushing game is, I don't want to say non-existent, but that shit might as well be dead. Gus Edwards, 8 for 23. Vidal, 3 for 9. I mean, I know they weren't even able to run the ball too much because of the score and everything, but yeah, I mean, that was just a great win for the Bucs. Tough loss for the Chargers. I mean, I just can't believe the Bucs won this by this much. This makes me, I need to just... And with now the Chargers have a quick turnaround. They play the Broncos on Thursday, so I'm curious to see what that spread is. I'm hoping we get a few extra points in our favor now, because we might lean Chargers in that game, but I don't know, man, because Broncos played bad but won, and the Chargers just kind of played bad, and so it's like, man, who do I take? But that does it for all the Sunday games, and then we move on to Monday. I'm not gonna lie to you, Vikings win 30-12. Falcons win 15-9. The Falcons. Shout out to them. They covered on the kick. They're kicking the PAT, the Raiders are. And it gets blocked. Their third block kick of the day for the Falcons. I think that's what I heard. I think the Falcons blocked 3 kicks. Either that or there's 3 kicks in general blocked in this game. Kirk Cousins, 11 for 17, 112, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I'm hearing stuff for, like, he's just not confident in what he's seeing out there. That's what at least Dan Orlovsky's making it sound like. I've seen some other stuff where it's just like he's coming out and he's like, I'm questioning myself when I get off the field. It's like, why did I throw that? When you start hearing stuff like that from the quarterback, you know there's just that ain't good. So I don't know if it's like a mental thing because he's in a new spot. I don't know if it's just, I don't know, but it sounds like Kirk Cousins in his head a little bit. So that's something we have to look at because he's just not playing good football. And it's truly affected him at this point. But Raheem Morris came out and already said they have a plan. And he's talked about how starting quarterbacks in the NFL too early can just absolutely doom them. So he's not going to start Penix too early. They have a plan and everything. So makes it sound like Kirk Cousins is going to be safe for this year, next year, maybe, but I don't know for how long. So he needs to figure out his stuff quick because, yeah, the fact that he didn't have a good game with no Max Crosby. I mean, Desmond Ridder. His rating's worse because he threw 2 interceptions instead of 1, but 20 for 39, 208 is a little bit better than 11 for 117 and 112. I'm not going to dig too much into stats like I said. This was a bad game. Both the games last night were pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like we'll get to the Bears here in a minute, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm seeing some of the score stuff. I'm like, holy shit! I think I fell asleep for that. Like I was asleep for a good portion of this second quarter. That game into the third. Very little bit of the third quarter for the Bears Vikings. I'll just admit, like they weren't the most exciting games. Vikings kind of went up big too, and Caleb just played bad, and it's not totally on him, but he. One thing I've heard is from the guys I like to listen to, he's the one quarterback one of the guys I really trust and listen to about this stuff and all that. He said he's the only guy he has not seen like have progression this year. Like all the other guys have at least shown, like Bo Nix, shown some steps. Anthony Richardson, shown flashes and steps. Jaden Daniels has shown some stats of improvement. Apparently Caleb Williams is the only guy who's basically not shown anything really, in which isn't horrible for the most part for the fact that he was already like kind of up here and kind of good anyway. So it's like, all right, so he at least hasn't dropped off or anything. But the fact he's like, he hasn't shown much. That's a really bad sign. The Bears cannot fuck up this next hire. Because let's be honest, shout out to the Vikings. They won this game big. They have a chance now. They control their own destiny. I think potentially if they beat Detroit last game of the season, I think they win the division, which would be awesome for them. But pretty much for the Bears, they can't fuck up this next hire because Poles, his job's on the line. The GM, I think's job's on the line at this point. Kevin Ware, I believe his name is on the line. Yeah, at this point, they got to get this right, especially with the fact they have Caleb. Because they already screwed up year one. They already set Caleb back. So they got to get this right, and they got to figure this out. But man, that does it for Week 15. Week 16 is going to be a big one for some of these teams. Quickly, before we go over to college, I just want to talk about some... Okay, sorry about that. I got sidetracked or something. Looking overall real quick. So, the Chiefs... We're going to just read off some teams. So, the Chiefs locked up... They have a Z. They lock up first place. Oh, no, they clinched division. Okay, so the Chiefs clinched their division. They also clinched playoffs. Lions clinched division. Eagles clinched division. Vikings clinched division. Bills clinched... Oh, I'm going to restart that because I said it wrong. I'm sorry. Got a little bit of noise. I had some background noise I was listening to instead. Chiefs clinched division and playoff. Lions clinched playoff. Eagles clinched playoff. Vikings clinched playoff. Bills clinched division and playoff. Steelers clinched playoffs. Other than that, so you got teams eliminated. Jets, Bears, Browns, Jaguars, Titans, Panthers, Patriots, Raiders, Giants. So that leaves, I'm going to start off the list from the top to the bottom. So in the 7th spot, you got Packers. Texans already clinched the division, actually, so they did clinch a playoff, so not them. Packers, Ravens, Broncos, Commanders, Bucks, Rams, Chargers, Seahawks, Falcons, Cardinals, Colts, Dolphins, Bengals, 49ers, Cowboys, Saints. Those are all teams that have a chance to win a playoff game. No, they just all have a chance to make the playoffs. Colts are 6-8, and they, between them and the Dallas Cowboys, all those teams are 6-8. Most likely, most of those teams are eliminated. I don't see, like, Colts, Dolphins, Bengals, 49ers, Cowboys, Saints. Don't really see any of those teams reaching playoffs. Cardinals, they might. I don't know. Because we look at the wild card picture for the AFC. Colts are right outside it now at 6-8. Chargers are 8-6 sitting there. Dolphins are 6-8. Bengals are 6-8. So pretty much Colts have to win out. Chargers have to lose 2 of their... I think they have to lose both their last game. I think Broncos are already kind of in. If not, they have... I think Broncos and Chargers both to lose out, and then the Colts maybe get in. But yeah, if that's the case, then Colts, Dolphins, Bengals, probably not getting in. And then for the NFC, if you look at that, Vikings clinched the playoffs already with the Lions. That's crazy. So they're for sure locked in division spot. You got the Packers at 10-4, Commanders 9-5, and you got Seahawks at 8-6, Falcons at 7-7, Cardinals at 7-7. I don't think 49ers, Cowboys, Saints are going to make any noise. So it really just comes down to who wins the division, because I don't see Cardinals or Falcons winning all their last games. So, I mean, it really comes down to the Falcons. They have to win their division to get in. Cardinals have to win their division to get in. Seahawks have an outside chance, but that's going to be a tough one. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this NFC West because they have a lot of teams that are flirting. And then NFC West, NFC North. No. East. No. NFC West, NFC South. Woo! Just had to go through all the directions. NFC East, NFC West, NFC South. Those are going to be the 2 fun divisions to keep an eye on. And then for the AFC, I think everything's pretty much locked up, like I said. So, yeah, without any further ado now, I think we're going to go and talk about some college football and what's upcoming in that. Because, yeah, that pretty much does it for NFL. We'll obviously tomorrow go over Pickem, give out my picks for Week 16. I guess we should probably go over some news, see if there's any injuries I missed. Mahomes, I'll play versus Texas if I feel like I can play, so there's a chance, like I said, he might not play. Commanders, Falcons flex to Sunday Night Football on December 29th. Cleveland will now play Miami at 4:05. Thank God they flexed that game out. That would have not been fun to watch the Dolphins and Browns, especially with the way the 2 teams are playing. Browns start Dorian Thompson-Robinson versus the Bengals, so they officially did bench Jameis. That really sucks. So the guy who has David Njoku, damn it, because I don't think they're going to let him as loose too much as they did Jameis. Man, I can't believe they aren't starting Jameis. Just let Jameis finish out the season at this point. I truly don't get that unless you're planning on doing something to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I don't get the change really. Caleb Williams' rookie year has been frustrating and encouraging. I just hope the kid keeps his head high because, I mean, the Bears are truly a truly rough situation. I just hope the kid keeps his head high because Caleb does have some potential to be a good quarterback in this league. We've seen the flashes. He just has to shine above the rest of it right now. Falcons, Cousins acknowledged he needs to play better ahead of playoff push. Yeah, you got to play. They got to play a lot better. And let's see, Geno has no structural damage. Could play Sunday, so Geno might play Sunday. Wouldn't be shocked if he's out. But we're going to have to keep an eye on that for sure. Ravens excused Deontay Johnson away from the team. I don't think they really came out and said why. I still don't think we officially know what's going on with Deontay Johnson fully. There's just some... I don't know. He's for sure going to be a free agent next season. I don't know at this point with all the stuff that's going on. I don't know who's going to pick him up. Steelers are optimistic that TJ Watt will play Saturday. David Montgomery lose McNeil. Lions lose David Montgomery and McNeil for the season due to their knee injuries. Let me look up Du Bois. I need to look up something. Grant Du Bois, I don't know if he's still hospitalized, but he had a scary hit yesterday. I believe he is okay now. He was still hospitalized as of yesterday, but I suffered severe concussion, likely from his head hitting the turf, not a helmet-to-helmet hit. The CAT scan was clean, too. He's awake and doing much better, and then I don't think there's been an update as of, recently. But yeah, that was a scary hit, man. He got hit hard. Yeah, I have not seen anything yet as if he's been released from the hospital or anything, so it sounds like he's still there. Just hope he's okay, because, yeah, that was a scary, scary hit. And, yeah, the fact that they stretched him out with stuff on his, they took off his shoulder pads, took off his clothes, had stuff on. I mean, it was a whole scary thing. So I'm glad to hear that he's okay, because, yeah, that was scary, man, from Sunday. Devondre Campbell is going to be suspended for the final 3 games after just not agreeing to play, pretty much. I don't know. Dan Campbell's onside kick. I'm pissed the NFL changed the kickoff rules, because I won't lie, that surprise onside kick might have worked if they didn't have to tell the other team, hey, we're onside kicking it. That's my whole issue with the thing. The fact that if you change the kickoff so bad that they have to announce when they're going to do a secret move, probably should change the rule, because, yeah, that needs fixed. But yeah, it's probably going to do it for the NFL news, like I said. Tommy DeVito, I think... Actually, I don't know. I think Tim Boyle might be starting this next week. I don't know if Tommy DeVito's been fully cleared. So that's another situation to keep an eye on for that team. But like I said, we'll obviously talk about it way more tomorrow when we actually go through the games, but college football playoffs. Not a fan of having NFL games and college football playoff games in the same day. I would love to be able to celebrate the playoffs or either that or celebrate the NFL. I don't want to celebrate both, but we're going to do it. I'm never going to complain about having too much football in the day, but man, I don't know why they didn't do some NFL. I know why they did it because of the Christmas schedule and everything, but it just stinks because it's like, man, now I got to choose between especially the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock game. Friday, we'll talk about that real quick, and then we'll go for some bowl games. Friday, you got the 7.5 point favorite Notre Dame, Fighting Irish, taking on the Indiana Hoosiers. That'll be their first game Friday. And then Saturday at noon, you got Penn State versus SMU. 1 o'clock, there's an NFL game. Penn State 8.5 point favorites. And then at 4 o'clock, you got Texas Clemson 11.5 point favorites. Another NFL game around then as well. And then so that's the part that's frustrating. It's like, man, I want to just watch these college football playoff games. But I ain't gonna complain about 2 screens open. Might even have to have a third. I think if some bowl games fall in that time. Oh, they don't. Okay, sweet. They didn't know. Okay, sweet. So they did it right. I thought so. No bowl games besides the college football playoff games for Saturday, which ends us with Sunday night. Pat McAfee, I think, just announced he's doing a simulcast with this, so I'm sure that will get a lot of views. Ohio State, Tennessee. 7.5 point favorite, Ohio State. I think I'm probably going to bet Tennessee in this game, just for the hope of chaos. But that should be a fun one, man. That's going to take us into Monday, which we have 2 more bowls. So we're going to, since we'll be back on the show on Tuesday, December 24th, we'll be doing a show for you people. Look for it early. Look for it early, because as of right now, my family's doing Christmas Eve on Sunday, the 22nd. So I will be free to record super early in the morning, so I'll get that out early so everyone can have some stuff and some plays and everything. So look for that Tuesday, obviously. But before we get to there, we got a week's worth of games to talk about real quick. Tonight, you got Memphis, now 6 point favorites. The over-unders at 60.5 now versus 6 point dog in West Virginia. I took West Virginia at plus 4.5 earlier. Now it's plus 6.5. Not the biggest fan. Literally just vibe things because they got Rich Rod. I couldn't tell you either way in this game, but that should be a fun one. They got, and that is the Frisco Bowl and the Boca Raton Bowl. They got James Madison versus Western Kentucky. James Madison 7.5 point favorites. UNLV 3 point favorites over California in the LA Bowl, which is now 3 points. It was 1 on some books, so I'm curious what got that number to jump. I'm going to have to check that out because, yeah, I mean, both teams don't have their quarterbacks, I don't think. Both teams, UNLV doesn't have their coach. A few guys are in the transfer portal. That's probably going to be a stay-away game for me unless I just find something on it. But I'm probably taking, I don't know. Actually, a few of these bowls I truly don't know. I'll have an article out, I feel like, but I might take Western Kentucky with the spread potentially because James Madison's quarterback might be out. And that's the main reason. But past that, I don't really know for that game. And then UNLV, I'll probably just be on the side of UNLV because Cal, 98 yards with the boy. What's his name? Francisco. Cal's quarterback, Fernando. Fernando Mendoza, 98 yards with the boys. Probably not playing because of the transfer portal. So I'll probably be on UNLV there because of that, even though UNLV doesn't have their head coach. What a bowl game. Shout out to Marshall, by the way. Marshall, we'll talk about that game probably next week because Marshall plays Army in a bowl game. But because their coach left and they had too many guys hit the transfer portal, Marshall had to pull themselves from their bowl game. So now La Tech plays Army in that game. It's like a 17-point spread now. So you know what we're going to be in that game. But yeah, it's that's crazy. Marshall literally got a bowl game and can't do it because the coach got let go. And then 25 players followed him in the portal, which is just crazy. And then then Thursday we got Sam Houston versus Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern 6-point favorites there. A little Sun Belt versus Conference USA action. Okay. I probably will lean the points here, but I really don't know with either of these two teams. Ohio versus Jacksonville State. Man, I want to take Jacksonville State, but Rich Rod isn't there anymore. But we probably will. I'll take Jacksonville State to cover the 3 just for the fact that, hey, they've been good to us for the last 2 years with Rich Rod betting on them. So it's like, hey, our final ride with them, we'll take them against Ohio and have them cover field goal in the Cure Bowl. And then New Orleans Bowl, Sam Houston, Georgia Southern. You got the Gasparilla Bowl, Florida, 12.5-point favorites over Tulane. Probably going to take Tulane. I feel like it's a lot of points, but at the same time, I don't know. After watching that Tulane team against Army, I don't. Oh, yeah, and Mensa's out. So I forgot that Mensa's committed to Duke, so I'm assuming that he's not playing. Yep, he's already officially out, so yeah, I'm good. I don't probably not take anything in that game. And then that leaves us to Friday. I'm probably going to take Notre Dame on the spread, then bet the IU money line, or do vice versa. Bet the IU spread, take the Notre Dame money line. I don't know. I truly don't know. These are like choosing between two children. I could see either of those two teams winning it. We are going to be on SMU. I guess I don't need to give out all my bets, right? We'll do this tomorrow. But those are some of my leans. I lean SMU. I lean Clemson. I lean Tennessee. We'll stop it there. I'll give out all my bets tomorrow, obviously, when it comes down to that point of it. Shout out to Travis Hunter for winning the Heisman. Man, that's crazy. Crazy for him, man. We got a two-way athlete that made it. I'm not shocked that he won it over Genty. Not totally shocked, just because Travis Hunter... Best way to put it, Aston Genty was the best running back in the country. Damn near maybe best. I don't know. He was really good, while Travis Hunter was the best player. I mean, what he did truly was special, putting up great, top 10 numbers in both positions, playing really well. He had truly had a special season. I'm not mad at him winning it at all. We definitely had more money on Genty to win it in the winning section, but hey, we ain't going to complain about that. We gave out both guys, so it's awesome if you're able to get a little bit on that. But shout out, like I said, Hunter for winning the Heisman. And that's probably going to do it for today. I don't know if there's much more news to talk about. Sacramento State's looking to bring in Vic. Wake Forest coach steps down. I don't know if they really gave a reason. But I mean, I'm assuming it's because he wasn't doing the most. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try to speculate. But yeah, man, I can't wait. It's gonna be a fun weekend. Fun weekend of games. Cannot wait for Drew Aller's returning for his senior year. By the way, Norvell gives back $4.5 million in a restructured deal with Florida State, which is very interesting. I'm assuming that's obviously gonna go towards NIL, but. Yeah, that's probably going to do it for today. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the report. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to go over all my bets for the college football playoffs. We're going to go over Pickem Week 16, which, hey, we on the podium, people. Another good week. Can't wait to talk about that tomorrow. Show you guys the score. Hey, we're truly now, we're one really good week away from winning it all. And with, we're about to be on Week 16. We got 3 weeks left. 3 weeks left, and we'll talk about tomorrow. We're not down too much. We have a true shot. We just got to be pretty good at the end of the season. I'm very excited. Everything's right there in front of us. It's crazy. We got college football playoffs this weekend. We got a week of amazing games that come in. We got Christmas games next week. I mean, we got a fun slate coming. So expect tomorrow on this show here at Stare Down Sports, Stare Down Greatness. the JC Pod partner with Stare Down Sports. I kind of butchered that a little bit. Stare Down Greatness. So we're going to do Pickem tomorrow. Breakdowns and Pickem. Breakdowns NFL bets. Breakdowns college football and bowl games. For tonight, though, and Wednesday, so you have some bowl game action if you need it. We're on West Virginia tonight. Not the biggest fan of that. Love the over tonight at 58.5. I think both these teams will put up points. And then Wednesday, we lean Western Kentucky a little bit because James Madison quarterback's out. And then we're going to probably take UNLV just because Fernando Mendoza is not playing for Cal. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support. Truly do appreciate it. I will see everyone back in this feed tomorrow to go over some magical football stuff. And hey, people, you better bring your bowling shoes.